All right, so I'm gonna have to do a voiceover on this part of the video. For some reason, my microphone wasn't working. I didn't check my levels before I started. So we're gonna get into what we got. These are your ingredients. You need beans. These are Great Northern beans, and you don't have to use them. You can use navy beans. This particular day, I couldn't find them anywhere. Everybody was out, so I had pinto beans I was gonna use. I just prefer using white beans, either a Great Northern or a navy bean. It's a personal preference. You use whatever. I usually use a whole onion. I had this left over from something I was cooking yesterday, or the day before, and it's in the fridge. You're gonna want some garlic. I got that out of camera, but I got 2 cloves here with a 1-pound bag. You can put more garlic, less garlic, no garlic, 0 garlic. And when you do the onion, you can use a whole onion. No onion, whatever. We got some pepper there, some chicken stock, and my little, of course, the ham, and then my little secret ingredient back there. I don't know if I picked it up yet or not, but chicken bouillon cube, yeah, right there. I throw 1 chicken bouillon cube in with everything, and it gives it a little extra something. You don't really want to salt this. The ham itself is usually going to have more than enough salt in everything, along with the bouillon cube, and even the chicken stock, unless you get low sodium chicken stock. So what you're going to want to do, though, is you need a pot to soak your beans, and I think that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah. We're going to have to get your beans soaking, because these are dried beans. You can use canned beans if you want. I like using dried beans. They're cheaper, easier. Not easier, but they're cheaper. I just like them better. They're not mushy. You can cook them to however hard you want them. But there's 2 ways of doing it. You can either soak them overnight, 6 to 8 hours. Just fill a pot up with water, bowl up with water. You want to rinse these out, check through them, make sure there's no little stones or debris or anything else in there. But you want to put them in something, let them sit overnight, drain that water, and then move on to the cooking step. What I'm doing here is I'm going to rinse all these and go through them, make sure there's nothing funky in there. And then we're going to take this pot, after I've rinsed it out, fill it up with water, at least a couple inches of water above the beans, because these beans are going to soak up a lot of this water. What you're going to need to do is bring that up to a boil, boil it 5 minutes or so, and then shut the heat off, put the lid on, and let it sit for an hour. And once you get that sitting for an hour, and it's been there an hour, you want to drain that water out. And then you can do, what we're going to do is add those beans, the soaked beans, and this is a quick soak method. You're going to add those beans into a cast iron pot that's got the ham and everything else in it. And we'll show you that here in a second. So there you go. You see I got water, and actually this wasn't enough water. After this started boiling and sat for a little bit, I had to add more water. So add plenty of water. It's not going to matter because you're going to be dumping all of it. You want to make sure you have enough water in there to keep all of the beans submerged. So add quite a bit of water on top of these. They're going to soak it up. And here I am just picking out a few little funky beans that I found. I might edit this part out. Now this ham I got here is our ham from Christmas I made. I think later on in the video I talk about it, but this was a ham I made, and it was from one of my hogs. I had a local shop out by me to actually do the curing and smoking. I didn't do this for this one. But I do have 2 more fresh hams in the freezer that I am gonna smoke and cure. And that'll be a video sometime down the road. I'll go through that process with everybody here on YouTube. So I got the heat on for that one, and you can see my oval cast iron enameled pot there. And I think what I talk about here though is I love my cast iron pans. I use them all the time. And this other one here is a Calphalon, and it's made in Toledo. And I got a full set, me and my wife, for our wedding as a wedding present. And had them 3 years, coming on 4 years now. Absolutely love this set. There's strainers and spouts on all of the pots. So you're making pasta or whatever, just draining something. You don't have to use a colander. You can just hold onto that lid, dump it right out. And I'll put some links down to all the Calphalon stuff I've got. And I love it. It's made in Toledo, made in the USA, made in Ohio. And here I'm talking about my oval Dutch oven, enameled Dutch oven. I love this thing. I use this and my cast iron pan pretty much for anything I do. They're workhorses for me when I'm cooking. And I'm going to put a link to something similar to this in Amazon. They're not super cheap, but they last forever. I think the last one I looked at on Amazon was about 70, 80 bucks. But if you take care of them, they last forever. Here's what we're going to do with the ham. I just take the ham, I dump all of it in there, ham bone, everything. If you don't have ham or leftover ham, you can just get a couple smoked neck bones or just smoked meat, or buy a ham, small ham, and do this. I threw it in whole pieces, whole slices, and everything. Actually dropped that into the stove next to the burner. But you can take this, you can chop it up smaller if you want. I usually don't. I leave it all whole. I'll leave everything attached to the bone, because you're going to cook this for at least an hour and a half. And as this cooks down, you might want to trim some of the fat off. You don't want a ton of fat in there. I didn't, and I ended up skimming it on and off throughout this process. But you don't have to. I don't anyways. I let it big pieces like this, because as this cooks, it's going to break that ham down. It's going to pretty much become pulled pork or pulled ham. As you're stirring it periodically, it's just going to start falling apart and falling apart. So you don't need to cut it up unless you want to. You'll end up with smaller strands, a little less screwing around later on. I use chicken stock. You can use water. Chicken stock gives you a little extra flavor. I kind of use chicken stock in place of water for about everything I cook. A lot of times I'll have actual homemade chicken stock that I'll can, but I haven't done that in a little while. And to be honest, I haven't butchered any chickens in quite a while, so I don't screw around with it anymore. But you want to fill this up, and you're going to need quite a bit of liquid if you don't have enough, because once these beans are done soaking, they're still going to soak up more liquid, whether it be cooking stock or water. They're going to soak up quite a bit, so you might have to add more throughout this. You're going to be checking on them. Another way you can do this, you can throw this all in a crock pot. Once you've pre-soaked your beans, you can throw it in a crock pot and set it for low for probably 6 hours. I'm not too sure, but there you go, your onion, same thing. This is going to cook a long time, so I don't go crazy. I just cut it up into big chunks, throw it right in the pot, because they're going to cook down to about nothing. Same with the garlic. I'll give it a good smash to get all the flavor out. And the same thing, it's going to cook down to about mush, which for me is fine. If I find a big old piece of cooked garlic, fantastic. I love garlic. But you can, if you want, take this, chop it up, mince it up, dice it up, whatever you want to do. So throw that right in the pot with all the other good stuff. All right, let's sprinkle some pepper in. Dealer's choice on this one, however much you want. I usually have an actual pepper mill that I'll put fresh cracked pepper in, but I don't know where it is. I didn't feel like looking for it in the kitchen. We were cleaning up for the holidays, and I got moved on. And then 1 bouillon cube. You can leave this out if you want. I don't think it makes it too salty, but I think it gives it a little extra flavor. Gives it a little extra something in there. So 1 bouillon cube, throw the thing right in, and we're going to get this a simmering. Nothing crazy. I'm not going to start boiling, but I want to get everything nice and warm, so when I do add the beans later on, I'm not just dumping it in a cold pot. And it'll help this ham to break down and really start infusing that bone flavor and the ham flavor and everything in there, start infusing that into the broth, which will help the beans start soaking up some of that too. So in goes the bouillon cube. All right, so it's been an hour. The beans have sat and soaked in the hot water after we shut the heat off. All I did, drain the liquid, added the beans to my pot with my ham. You get yourself some ham and bean soup. Now you can let this cook. Once this gets up to a simmer, put the lid back on. Keep a nice little gentle simmer on this for hour and a half, 2 hours, however long you want to do it. I'll let this go for quite a while till the beans are real tender, almost to the point where you can mash them up. The last thing you're gonna want to do though is when you're done cooking this and you decide, what I always do is I will mash some of the beans up, or I'll get a can of just a can of white beans, throw those in there and mash them with it. Do whatever you want with it. It's food, it's your bean soup. We'll come back when I think it's done and I'll show you what it's gonna look like. Not much to it. Beans are pretty easy to cook. Hey, if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Make sure you comment, make sure you hit like. Do you have a recipe in mind you want to see the stupid domesticated hillbilly make? Throw it in a comment, let me know. I'm always cooking, I do a lot of cooking. I don't know why, I enjoy cooking. All right, so here we are at about the 2 hour mark, and this is what we got. Big old pot of beans and ham. Now, like I said, I like mine a little on the thicker side. You could have pulled this a half hour ago, or you can let it go another half hour, and it'll end up a little thicker. The only thing you want to do is you want to smash a little bit of the beans up. And that just, even if you pull it a little bit sooner and don't let it thicken up like this, you still want to smash a few of the beans. It's just beans. It's beans and ham. You can season it with anything you want. Sometimes I'll put a little cumin in there, or cumin. Don't forget, you do kind of want to put a little hot sauce. You need a little bit of spice. Just nothing spicy or super hot, but you want a little kick in there. I really think that the hot sauce is the way to go. And that's your preference. Any kind of hot sauce will do. I myself prefer that Frank's. Easy enough, simple recipe, not much to it. It's more or less a crock pot thing. You kind of just set it, forget it. Hey, if you like that, make sure you hit subscribe. There's gonna be some more videos coming up. Next weekend, I'm probably gonna make jambalaya. It's one of my favorites to make all the time. And this one, I'm gonna have some of my own andouille sausage I made. We'll get into that another day. Gonna be ordering the lift kit and vinyl wrap for the golf cart. So stay tuned. If you want to see me screw this project up, well, at least the vinyl wrap. The lift kit should be easy enough, but if you want to see me screw up the vinyl wrap, tune in, because I'm going to video through this and bring you guys along through that adventure. Never done a vinyl wrap. Watch some YouTube videos on it, but that's a whole profession in and of itself, and I've got no skills on vinyl. But there was something else I wanted to tell you guys. I don't remember what it is. What else? What else? What else? What else? There was something else. Something I wanted to mention before I quit this.